I'm going to get into the 5 biggest storylines. And obviously, number one, the future of Matt Stafford. At least it was the future of Matt Stafford until things kind of got locked up today. We don't really know contractually what the details are for the 36-year-old Matt Stafford, but word was that he was a little unhappy that he had 3 years remaining on the contract. Only $31 million was guaranteed. He was going to cost about $49.5 against the cap this year. Now he gets more guaranteed money. And look, this is awesome. And you heard Sean McVay. And by the way, does McVay look like he's lost a little weight watching him in that presser? I know he played at Miami of Ohio at, I think, 188. I don't know if he's down that much, but he looks like he's lost a little weight. But if you go back to Stafford in 2023, he goes down in Dallas against the Cowboys when they got whipped 43-20, and poor Brett Rippon comes in and just disgusting game there for the Rams all the way around. But when Stafford comes back down the stretch and going into the postseason, 6-2 his final 8 games, 18 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. And you look at the 2 losses in overtime, bad conditions to a really good Baltimore team, and then obviously to end the season in Detroit, wild card weekend. But Matt Stafford was incredible. He's 36 years old. I still would put him as the best quarterback right now in the NFC. I think people would disagree with me. When you start to look at this, Jared Goff has played awesome. I think all Rams fans still appreciate what Goff did for them, getting them to Super Bowl 53, the number 1 overall pick in 2016. So Goff has really panned out. But if you're looking for other great quarterbacks in the NFC, there's really not any. Goff is really good. Jordan Love, the way he played in the second half, and everybody remembers that loss to Green Bay in Lambeau last year. Not a lot of offense there. But those would be my top 3 quarterbacks. Say what you want about Dak Prescott. I know he puts up big numbers, but does he get it done in the postseason? We know Matt Stafford does. If you gave me one quarterback out of the NFC for this season alone, it would be 36-year-old Matt Stafford. So all Rams fans have got to be excited about him getting locked up for the next couple of years. I think Matt Stafford's got 3 or 4 really good years left. And you start to look at the quarterback room for the LA Rams. You've got Jimmy G, Garoppolo, a guy that has started to quarterback, is your backup, and then Stetson Bennett, a guy that I was really excited Les Snead went out and got in last year's draft. Obviously was on a non-football injury list, and the reports are Stetson Bennett, it's all come together. He's gotten healthy. So for whatever that was, there were a lot of different stories and rumors. But the good news is it does seem like Stetson is healthy. He is going to be at least the number 3 quarterback going into this season. And who knows, might end up being that backup. Let those 2 veterans groom him, and maybe Stetson is the guy in the next 2 or 3 years. But, that was storyline number 1 coming out of camp today. A ton of storylines. And number 2 storyline's got to be Tyler Higbee, a guy that I have loved since they drafted him out of Western Kentucky. He is on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. That means they go on and designate that. He's going to count against the 90-man roster going into camp. When he'll be activated, who knows? Tears the ACL last year in that bad playoff loss to Detroit. And you could tell how severe the injury was when he goes down, MCL and ACL. So hopefully we will see Tyler back sooner than later. Now, the good news for Rams fans, tight end position, obviously ultra important. And when the Rams really started to play great offense, when everything's clicking, you guys know this, is when they're effectively running the football. Kyron Williams was so good in the second half of the season. That opened up things for Tyler Higbee. Unfortunately, goes down with the injury. But Colby Parkinson's a guy they get in division from the Seattle Seahawks. Just your typical tight end. How good? What is the ceiling for Colby Parkinson? Do I think he's as good as Tyler Higbee? No. Maybe Tyler Higbee light, who I'm really excited about. Second-year tight end out of Clemson, Dennis Allen. When you watched Allen, I think there's a high ceiling, especially the second half of last season. This is a guy, everybody talks about the catch radius. He's athletic, not the best blocker in the world, but he's got that wingspan. And I think sooner than later, Davis Allen might end up being your starting tight end. Now, when they're running 2 tight end sets, that's when you'll see Davis Allen running a lot of routes and being really effective in this Sean McVay offense. I do think that's probably the second biggest storyline coming out today, at least. Obviously, going into this camp, everybody is like, who is going to replace 99? And the answer is nobody. Aaron Donald was that good. A decade of complete dominance. And we all know that he made the Pro Bowl all 10 years. But more importantly, he was an 8-time All-Pro first team. When you're an All-Pro, that is your peers, and that is the ultimate. And he's one of the best we've ever seen. Inside out, completely dominated, taking on double and triple teams all the time. 111 career sacks. And for whatever this is worth, ESPN just did their top 100 athletes of this century, and he was number 20 on the list. And when you look at 21 to 100, I mean, there's some names that'll blow you away. That is the respect that AD garnered and the respect he still gets. I know there's a small contingent out there that is like, hey, man, maybe AD could come back and play. I think the retirement is in stone, but obvious candidates to replace Aaron Donald. Again, it's not going to happen. It's going to be by committee. We'll get to new defensive coordinator Chris Shula here in a little bit. But you look at Kobe Turner and the rookie season he had last year, and again, shout out Les Snead. This guy finds a way to work magic, especially in later rounds. But Kobe Turner, 57 tackles, 9 sacks. Byron Young up front, what he was able to do, the 2023 third-round selection out of Tennessee, covering him at Tennessee, a guy that was good, but I thought he played his best football last year as a rookie in the NFL. Now, how these guys are going to be able to operate without Aaron Donald, that's an unknown. But when you look at Young and Turner, what they were able to do in year one, now you bring in Jared Verse. And I got to be honest with you, going back to the tight end, this is something I talked about on my show that originates out of Birmingham, 9 to 12, and you can check it out Next Round Live. You can go app, whether you're on Apple or Android, just put in Next Round. Got a YouTube channel, Twitch, basically any platform you can consume us. But going into that draft, if the Rams could get Brock Bowers, I was saying this offense would be unstoppable. If the offensive line continues to gel, it stays healthy, and Matt Stafford obviously stays upright. Brock Bowers is going to be a Travis Kelce, George Kittle-like tight end. I think he's going to be completely dominant at this level. Now, for whatever reason, Antonio Pierce, I guess, went best player available. Michael Mayer's a tight end they drafted out of Notre Dame in the second round just last year. So now you've got 2 quality tight ends if you're a Raiders fan. I think they needed many other needs for the Raiders. But anyway, once he went off the board, Jared Verse is the guy that I wanted as a Rams fan. This is the guy that began his career at Albany and then transfers out to Florida State after dominating at that level. And then last year at Florida State, this guy, back-to-back years, 9 sacks. Then you go out, you get his teammate, Braden Fisk. This guy, we talk about nonstop motors and a guy that just wreaks havoc in the backfield. That's what you saw when you watched Florida State's defense. It started with those 2 guys last year. So I think those guys are going to be fantastic. I think one guy that could be a hidden gem is Tyler Davis. This is a guy that was selected in the 6th round. He was a 3-time first-team All-ACC performer at Clemson. His numbers were actually better than Kobe Turner's in his final year at Wake Forest in the same conference. So Tyler Davis is a guy to watch. And then obviously Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown was known first 3 seasons out of A&M as a space eater, 31 tackles last year. I really think he stepped up his game. So this is going to be by committee for this Rams defense. Before we get into another storyline, our defensive coordinator, Chris Shula, I want to tell you about a great sponsor here on We Are Ramley. Really excited to invite Bowie to the family here. I'm one of these guys, and you can see it right here. I try to drink, believe it or not, 100 ounces of water a day. I fall short a lot. Sometimes 60 ounces, 70 ounces, 80 ounces. I try to hydrate because my nights when the sun sets, I like a cold beer. I like a good red wine. I like bourbon. But Bowie, I wasn't really introduced until my girlfriend started to talk to me about Bowie's hydration drops. She's used them for a while now. I noticed how little benefit I was getting from just drinking bottled or tap water. The great thing about Bowie drops, they're unflavored liquid electrolytes. They've got 87 trace minerals, deep ocean harvested. It's non-GMO. It's vegan. This product is fantastic. It's purposely made without sugars, artificial ingredients, or additives to provide you with more energy and enhance brain function. All their social is Just Add Bowie. That's B-U-O-Y, Just Add Bowie. And there's a link to their new brain health drops. You're going to love this product. I'm telling you, if you're trying to stay hydrated, why not get the benefit of Bowie as well? So our number 4 storyline today, as Rams jump into camp on the campus of Loyola Marymount, new defense coordinator Chris Shula. 38 years old. If you're a diehard football fan, you obviously know the name. Being in Birmingham, Alabama, going to the University of Alabama, covered Mike Shula for a long time. He's the nephew of Mike Shula, obviously the grandson of the great Don Shula, one of the greatest head coaches in NFL history. But Shula takes over, and this is a guy that has earned his stripes. Go back to Sean McVay, hired in 2017. I didn't really know who in the hell Sean McVay was when he was hired, honestly. He comes in, and one of his initial hires was Chris Shula, and he's worked his way up from linebackers to defensive backs. Now he takes over this defense. And one thing you can say about Sean McVay, as good as he is offensively, and there's a lot of offensive coaches that get it wrong on the other side of the ball. Shout out to Rams fans that are also USC fans. Fight on. Lincoln Riley is one of those guys you think about, has had a dominant offense from Oklahoma to now USC, but the reason they lose games and don't win championships, can't get the defense right. Can't say that about Sean McVay, a guy obviously that's been to multiple Super Bowls. He's won one, but from Wade Phillips, his first DC from 17 to 19, to the 1 year with Brandon Staley, who goes on to the Chargers, to Raheem Morris, who's now the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I think Chris Shula is going to be just fine. He's got a lot of young parts to work with. So looking forward to see what Chris Shula is able to do with these young parts for that Rams defense. Our final storyline is this year's rookie class. And the rookies made such an impact on last year's team. I mean, you can just go through it. We start, obviously, Puka Nacua. I mean, at this time last year, if you're not a BYU fan, did anybody know Puka Nacua had this type of talent? I think the answer is easily no. Steve Avila. Now, this is a guy, the only Rams player to take every snap of the 2023 season, only allowed 2 sacks as a rookie offensive lineman. Byron Young was fantastic. We talked about him. He started 17 of 18 games with the 8 sacks. Kobe Turner, getting him in the 3rd round. Stetson Bennett, yet unseen, but I'm telling you, the way he played his final 2 years at Georgia, absolutely fantastic. The guy is a winner. Davis Allen, we talked about his upside. Puka is Puka. Already, I saw on some list where NFL players were ranking their top 20 players, and Puka was on every other list I saw, as high as number 10 on some of these lists. And other rookies that we look at last year, Ethan Evans. I mean, if you want to talk about a punter, the guy ended up 9th in the NFL, averaging almost 50 yards a kick. And you start to look at guys that are going to come in and hopefully can make those type of impacts. Jared Verse up front, Braden Fisk. Cameron Kinchens is a guy out of Miami that didn't really have the measurables when they went to Indianapolis, and I think those numbers dropped him to a 3rd-round selection. To me, this is a steal. This is a football player, 11 interceptions over the last couple of years, and really this unit needs turnovers. They were 30th in forced turnovers last year, so that's going to be a big emphasis for Chris Shula. But hopefully, Kinchens is one of these guys that can come in that defensive backfield and automatically get reps. And again, I mentioned 6th-round defensive tackle Tyler Davis. That is a guy I think everybody should watch out for. Kind of that sleeper, kind of in the mold of Kobe Turner. Is he going to be that good? I doubt it, but, who knows? And then Joshua Carty. We remember as Rams fans, back when Zerline, I'll even go before Zerline. Jeff Wilkins was a great kicker. Zerline had the leg. He's still, and I think you can see it over my left shoulder. Is it my right shoulder? Yeah, my right shoulder up top. That's Zerline making the kick in the Superdome, taking the Rams to Super Bowl 53. It is one of my favorite moments as a Rams fan because I hate the Saints. And I've got a lot of reasons to hate the Saints. Every time the Rams play in New Orleans, I go down there. I deal with Saints fans. Don't like them. And that kick, the 57-yarder to win the NFC Championship, I know there's a little controversy there. We still got to the Super Bowl, though. But my point was going to be maybe Carty is one of these guys like Matt Gay was down the stretch, taking the Rams to Super Bowl 56. The Rams will be able to rely on. His final year at Stanford, 21 of 21 extra points, 23 of 27 field goals. The guy's got a leg. He was a first-team All-American. So that is going to be something to watch because the Rams really haven't been able to settle on that kicker over the last couple of years. So really looking forward to this year's rookie class, looking forward to this podcast.